Okay, so let's do a quick book haul. Starting with So Big by Edna Ferber. This is a Pulitzer Prize winning book, and I picked this up because I really wanted to read more award winning books this year. I picked up this Jeanette Winterson book as well. Jeanette Winterson is one of my favorite authors when I was in university, and I haven't read this one. I thought it's time to read her again. I also got Sea of Poppies. It's another book from the award-winning books table at the book fair. I also got Lauren Groff's latest novel, Matrix. I got Little Women because I always get Little Women whenever I am thrifting books, because it's really just one of my favorite novels, and I also really love this cover. I like the two-tone illustration. I think it's beautiful. I also got Neverworld Wake. I read Night Film and Special Topics in Calamity Physics from this author. I like both of those books, but this one I finally finished and it's a 1-star read. Anyway, I got Dear Life by Alice Munro as well. Alice Munro passed away actually this year, and I thought it time that I finally read this short story anthology, which I heard is really, really good. I got Sankofa. I've seen this everywhere, so I just want to know what the hype is all about. So, yep. This book I got because I was attracted by the cover, and then I read the blurb in the inside jacket and I got all the more interested. So I'm hoping this is a good read. I started this already actually. I got Transcendent Kingdom. I've started this multiple times on audiobook before and haven't finished it. I'm hoping having a physical copy is a better fit for reading this book. And finally, I got The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. This is the prequel to Practical Magic if you've seen the movie or read the book. This is actually the story of the two aunts. And that is it for the book haul from the book fair. So for today's journal, I wanted to do something simple. I wanted to do the book fair day on one page and the Mother's Day on the other page, but I still wanted to decorate it in such a way that it still looks cohesive, like it still looks like one whole spread. I thought that this might be a good way for me to practice doing kind of like a day per page, because I'm looking forward to maybe switching to a Hobonichi insert for the next year. So right now, what I'm doing here, as you can see, is I'm putting the dates on both of the pages, similar to how a Hobonichi techo would look. Yeah, while I'm doing this, let me tell you about the book fair that we went to. It's a massive, massive book fair. It's an annual book fair that happens once a year. It's an annual book fair that happens in May in Calgary. It's about a 10-day book fair, and they just have piles and piles and piles of books in like this whole curling club. We actually look forward to this book fair every year. We've so far only been to one back in 2022. Last year we were looking forward to it, but around the time that it started, we were out of the country, so we were just really excited for this year's book fair. If you've seen some of my other videos, you'll know that we really love book thrifting, myself and my husband, and we usually always drop by a secondhand bookstore whenever we're out on a date. So this one is such a big one, such an exciting one, and it's also very well priced. Like, if I remember correctly, I think they were selling the general fiction books for around $4 each, except the ones with like a special sticker on it. So those ones are obviously sold for more, but still not like the regular price that they are sold at regular bookstores. So yeah, I was a little bit overwhelmed because of the amount of options that was available at the book fair. So overwhelmed, in fact, that I apparently completely missed a whole section. I was told that it's the art section, which makes me really sad because I really wanted to get some art books. But I was just so overwhelmed because there were, as I said, like a lot of books. And I think for like the first few minutes, I just kind of walked around. And how it's set up is like there are just a bunch of tables, and it's still organized, because what they did is like the tables are in alphabetical order. Say like it's a general fiction area, all the tables are in alphabetical order, but obviously the books on top of the tables are not. But I wish that I made a list of authors or books that I want to get, so that it was easier for me to navigate those tables. Because towards the end, I feel like I was just going by the book covers and which one kind of would jump out on me. But yeah, I'm complaining about my not being prepared for the book fair, but I still ended up like with 11 books for myself, and Kevin got 12, I believe. His is a mix of fiction and nonfiction, which is what he reads, but mine is completely all fiction books. So far, out of the 11 books that I bought as of recording this video and recording this voiceover, I've read 2 of the 11 books that I bought. I've read Neverworld Wake by, I think her name is Marisha Pessel. I've read 2 of her other books, like I mentioned earlier. I've read Night Film and Special Topics in Calamity Physics. Special Topics in Calamity Physics is very much like Donna Tartt's A Secret History. It's like the same template. But I enjoyed it anyway because I did read it before I read The Secret History. I also enjoyed Night Film, which is kind of a gothic horror trope. But Neverworld Wake was just all over the place for me. I felt like it tried to be so many different things. Like it's sci-fi and fantasy and like coming of age, and it's just not any of those things. Like, it doesn't really speak to me in any way, nor did any of the characters from the book. There were also a lot of plot holes, I think. The other book that I also read is Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. Again, like I mentioned earlier, if you've seen Practical Magic or have read Practical Magic, it is the prequel to that book and a prequel to that movie. If you've seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, I think that you should, because it's a really good one. One of my favorites from my childhood. So the story revolves around the aunts from the book, Practical Magic. So they are the Owen sisters, and they have inherited magical abilities from the mom and from their descendants. So it's a story about the Owen sisters and their brother, and it's set in the 1960s, and it's just, I don't want to say too much. I feel like I said too much about Neverworld Wake, but also I feel like it's okay if you don't read that one. The Rules of Magic, though, was a good read for me. It's a 4-star read. I really enjoyed the setting. I really enjoyed the characters, the character developments, and the general feel of the novel. Another book that I recently finished but is not on the book haul from the book fair is Tom Lake by Anne Patchett. I really like Anne Patchett. This is the 3rd book of hers, I think, that I've read, and I'm definitely adding the rest of her work on my to-read list. Tom Lake is one of those books wherein nothing really big happens, which may make it uncompelling in some ways, but I find myself drawn to this little farm where the main character, Lara, I think her name is, if I remember correctly, is happily stuck during COVID with her husband because all of her daughters are stuck with her during that time. All of her, like, adult daughters. So she begins telling them this drawn out story of this one summer where she acted in a play with this guy who eventually becomes a big movie star. And this is a story of kind of like their young love story. And it sounds so boring, but also I listened to this on audiobook and Meryl Streep was narrating, and that partnered with Patchett's almost like melodic writing is just chef's kiss. I don't have anything else to say about the book other than I really love Patchett's writing style, and that I think I gave this book 4 stars. And I also think that I am almost done with my spread. So I just want to thank you for hanging out with me and letting me talk nonstop about the books that I've read lately. The book that I am currently reading is Jane Eyre, which in my last video I kept referring to as Jane Eyre, but Jane Eyre. And surprisingly, I was inspired to read it because my favorite ink at the moment is Jane Eyre. So yeah, I would like to hear about the book that you are currently reading or what book you've read lately and loved. I would take recommendations if you have any. Again, thank you for hanging out with me. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that I see you again on the next one. Bye!